Hello and welcome to the world-famous and award-winning Driving You Crazy podcast. This is the show where we talk about all things transportation, anything that gets you from here to there. I'm the traffic anchor and the transportation reporter for Denver 7 News, Jason Luber. If you would like to contact me, all my links are in the description of the show. If you wouldn't mind rating the show, however you're listening, I'd appreciate that. And if you want to call the listener hotline, it's 303-832-0217. I had some calls and then hang-ups. They were like 5 or 8 seconds recently, and so I don't know if there's a problem with the line. Maybe I should check it out. But you can call it anyway and see if it's working. Leave me a message, and then I'll see. In just a minute, I'm going to be talking about RV Overnights. It's a service that will connect people who have an RV or a travel trailer, something like that, with a nationwide network of small businesses that will offer you a place to park your RV. And some have hookups and some don't. And some have unique experiences and some don't. And it comes basically with a subscription fee to the website, and then you're hooked up with these different places that you can book and take your RV. I talked about a similar service years ago called Harvest Hosts. And so we'll see what the differences are between those two. And I'll be talking to Rob Case here in just a minute. I wanted to tell you this story. So in Colorado, it's unique because we have something called the Four Corners. Most people have heard of the Four Corners, right? It's the monument down where Arizona and Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado all come together. It's actually on Navajo Nation land, reservation land, and you go down there and you have to pay an entrance fee. I think it was $5 or $10 for the carload, something like that, or per person. Anyway, there was an entry fee, and you go in and they have this big monument set up where they have in the middle, right there where the Four Corners are, they have this little marker where you can stand on all four or put all four of your limbs on every state and take pictures. And then they have these booths around there that you can buy things. And because it's on the on the Navajo Nation Indian reservation, I don't believe that they have to worry about the different sales taxes and all those things for the different states being they're selling things or anyway, I don't know how that works because they have 4 different states involved. But it's pretty neat. I've been down to the Four Corners several times. Well, Colorado is unique where it has multiple 3 corners. So it's where 3 states come together. And it's like one of them is at where Utah and Wyoming and Colorado come together in the northwest part of Colorado. And there's 5 of these different 3 corners. Well, I think it was last year I went to one of them where Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado come together. And you're just driving out into the prairie land, and there's this little dirt road, and you finally get to this spot where there is a monument. There was a gate around this one. And you go into this gate and you have the placard where it says this is the point of 3 where 3 states come together. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I want to do all of them. Well, there are 2 in southern Colorado, southeast, that are a little challenging to get to, at least time-wise, because it's down there. It's quite the drive. So I had always wanted to do this. So I had the opportunity since my wife was home. And she and I was off on vacation. I took some days off, a week off, and we weren't doing anything, going anywhere, going on vacation. It was just going to be a staycation. So I said on a Monday, I wanted to go down to the 2 different southern 3-corner spots. And so I did. And so I left the house at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yep. I got up early like I almost usually would. I actually got to sleep in a little bit from my usual getting up at 2:30 workday, and I got up at 3:30. Just got up, quick shower, quick food, and then off I go. I left the house at 4. And I drive down Interstate 25 down to Pueblo, and then I cut across from there. And once I left Pueblo, there were some cars, but then it becomes more and more bleak as you go through some of those Eastern Plains towns out there. And as soon as I turned south from, I think, Rocky Ford, I saw maybe 5 or 6 other vehicles. It was very, very bleak. Now, again, it was a Monday, so it was going to be less travel than a weekday. And I eventually get to this dirt road, and I'm driving on this dirt road where about every mile there's a cattle crossing And I did come across some cattle. One time they were just standing in the middle of the road looking at, whoa, what is this guy, this moron doing? Driving to the three corners. And so I made it to the first one, and there it was. I turned right off this dirt road. It was about a quarter mile down the road, and there it is. This is just a monument, if you will. It maybe stood 3 feet tall. It was concrete stone-ish, and it had Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Colorado on it, and then it had a little divot in the top of it, almost like a wishing well kind of thing, and just a divot, and people had put coins in there. Somebody had put a key in there. I don't know why. I didn't know what it was going to open, but they put that in there. And so I took my pictures, and I took some videos, and I stood on top of it, and that was kind of cool. And then I left, and then I go to the next one. And the next one was about an hour away, where Oklahoma and Kansas and Colorado come together. And that one was a little bit more ornate, where there was this gate area, this fenced area, and a tower, if you will. It almost looked like a windmill, right? And it was pretty tall. It was maybe 40 feet tall or maybe 30 feet tall. And it had this weather vane on the top of it that had one saying to Oklahoma and one saying to Kansas and one going to Colorado. But they also had the placard, the regular marker on the ground, actually in the road, that showed where all three states come together. So I hit both of those three corners, and then 20 minutes later, I get back in the car, and off I go, driving up to Kansas and driving back into Colorado and up through Lyman and back to my place just on the south side of Denver. So the overall drive took me 11 hours. I don't know how many miles. I didn't even keep track of how many miles. If you actually want to see a video of it, I posted it on my Instagram page. Maybe I should put a link to it on from my Instagram page or my Twitter page. I'll put a link to it in the description of the show so you can see the time-lapse video of my trip down there to these 2-3 corners. So there's 2 left that I have to hit. The one up north where Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado meet. That one shouldn't be hard because that's maybe 2 hours up there and 2 hours back. But the other one's going to be more difficult is the one that's west of Steamboat Springs at Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. And that one's going to be probably the last one I'll get to. But that one, another one, is probably a 10-hour round trip kind of thing. But I think, and maybe I'll make a trip out of that one, take the girls to Steamboat, and then I'll run up there, boom, get it, and come on back. I can't do it during the winter, though. These roads and my car are not going to be, I don't think it's going to be snow approved, so I have to do it during the summertime when it's easily traveled. I was actually reading up about some of these 3 corners, and there are a bunch around the country that you can see and can visit. There was one guy back in the 70s that I was reading about who had done all of them. And then also hit, I think it was the same guy who also hit the highest and lowest points of every state, I think except a couple. I don't know if he hit Mount McKinley in Alaska or out in Hawaii, but I know he hit most of them in the United States. He would have had to have hiked Mount Elbert, which is the highest point in Colorado. And that's a challenging hike if you've never done it before. That was one of the longer ones I ever did for a 14er. But, like Florida would be pretty easy, right? Some of the other states I think would be, Rhode Island and Delaware. I think those would be probably pretty easy to find the highest and the lowest spots. Anyway, so, a good way to get there maybe would be in an RV. Because when I say someone is traveling away from home, most people think that involves airplanes and rental cars and hotels, but some people think of when they take their vacation of taking their entire home with them in the form of a recreational vehicle or a travel trailer. Now, taking a trip in an RV was pretty popular before the pandemic, but it was very popular during COVID, and it stayed fairly popular after it. Now, one of the challenges, though, with any RV vacation is finding places to park for the night because hanging out in a Walmart parking lot isn't really all that exciting. There are more and more websites popping up where you can find unique places to stay, and one of those sites is called RV Overnights. And joining me now is the co-founder of RV Overnights, Rob Case, to talk all about how it works and about the popularity of RV trips. Rob, thanks so much for being here on the world-famous Driving You Crazy podcast.
Thanks, and thank you for having me, Jason.
So we're going to talk about how the service works and all about that and camping and RVing here in just a little bit. But I want to get to your first time in an RV or a camper. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, so I was very young. Friends, one of my childhood friends, his parents had a camper, and we went and stayed there. And I didn't sleep in it. We slept in the tent. Kids got to sleep in the tent back then. Um, but yeah, the parents stayed in the camper, and we were in there when it rained, and for meals and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the very first time. I was down the Jersey Shore because I'm from New Jersey, so they had a permanent spot down there, down by the beach.
And how did you like it? Did you start thinking, all right, this is something that I might want to explore more of when I get older?
That actually didn't happen until probably like my later college years. I've always loved camping, and when you're younger, you do a lot of tent camping with your buddies and backpacking, stuff like that. But then, as you get older, the luster of that wears away a little bit when you want to have your Tempur-Pedic mattress or air conditioning in the heat. So that's I'd say that's when it started kind of materializing this idea of getting a camper, a motorhome, something like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of the time I was with one of my buddies and we were hiking on the Appalachian Trail, at least part of it, back in Georgia, and they have these cabins set up along the trail so you don't have to stay in your tent. And so we get into this thing, and about a half hour later, here comes some of these army guys, and they go out and they say, "Hey, anybody hungry? We're gonna go shoot some squirrels." And they did. They they got a couple of squirrels and brought them back and said, "Hey, anybody want to try some?" I said, "No, I'm good. We're okay." But there's that
Yeah,
kind of yeah.
I don't know if I would have ate the squirrel either.
Yeah.
So I think I would have. We like to. My childhood friend and I, we joke around about how we eat better when we're camping than most people eat. When they make dinner in their kitchen at night. So we're usually filet and all kinds of great stuff that we make when we're camping. And having the camper only makes it even 10 times easier to eat like that. So
Sure. And RVs come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, and some people prefer the travel trailer. Some people prefer the all-in-one vehicle RV. Which do you prefer, the travel trailer or the all-in-one?
So I've had both now. And to be honest with you, I wish I could keep two at the same time. Maybe one day I'll be able to. But there's so many pros and cons to both. And right now I have a travel trailer with my truck, and it's awesome to be able to disconnect the truck and run off other directions and do other things. And that's a lot of fun. But there's also something to be said about just getting in a singular vehicle and being able to pull over on the side of the road and sit at the table and hop on a work call or grab a bite to eat, or you're at a stoplight and you have plenty of time. You run back to the fridge and get a soda and come back to the driver's seat. So there's definitely pros and cons to both, but honestly, I can't make up my mind right now. So maybe I'll switch back sometime soon to the drivable experience.
My guest is Rob Case. He's the co-founder of RV Overnights. We're talking about his service that connects RVers with a nationwide network of small businesses. So explain exactly what RV Overnights does and how it works.
Yeah, so RV Overnights is a membership-based program for RVers. We help connect RV owners with unique places to stay around the country. So we partner with wineries, breweries, distilleries, farms, uh, anything you can think of, drive-in movie theaters, barbecue joints, you name it, it's on our platform. We have 14 different host categories, as well as some kind of like catch-all categories like attractions. And you can request to go stay at those locations, and then you get to go park there in your RV. So rather than parking at a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart or paying for a campground for the night, you would go stay at these small businesses. You would support a small business. You get a product in exchange. There's no direct fee to stay there for the night. We simply ask that you support them with a minimum purchase of $30. A lot of people end up spending more than that because a lot of these places really are great hidden gems throughout the country with unique products that most people want or use. Farms have produce and milk and meat and everything else under the sun. And some of our breweries and distilleries have amazing products that are all in our kitchen office here. So it's one of those things that you're getting something for your stay. You're getting quiet, safe place to stay. And it's just kind of like it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, and a drive-in theater would come with its own movie.
Yeah, and what better way than to when you're at the movie theater and you want to have a bathroom break, you've got to run out of the theater, and here you just move from your lawn chair outside the door right inside, and you could probably still listen to the movie while you're in there and come back out. So
it's even better than when my mom would sneak bottles of wine into the movie theaters and and have that as we're watching a movie. If she could, she probably would have brought a grill right down the aisle. So this is even better.
I'm sure people do.
Yeah.
I'm sure people do
there you
at
go.
our locations. Yeah.
So this is not your first time working in this kind of business. I interviewed Joel Holland, the CEO of Harvest Hosts, about 3 years ago. And I know you worked with them for about a year and a half. Is that where you got the idea for this RV overnights?
I mean, not exactly. I really like the synergy between small businesses and RVers, and I like all the different things that you can find between the two. We just actually partnered with Camco, who is the leading manufacturer in RV consumables. So stuff like water treatment, toilet treatments, toilet paper, RV electrical adapters, stuff that you might break or run out on the road. And we're setting them up with the opportunity to buy products at a wholesale, basically as a kit, and put it at their location so that there's that much more synergy between the two, that you can support the host with additional purchases with stuff that previously hadn't been thought of.
Yeah.
And same thing with some of the filters on the member side, just being able to, we have 27 different filters to find the right host location, 14 different categories. So, we're really trying to build a platform that is something that RVers want, with the robust kind of search functionality and things like that they've had.
Are there other examples of things that you thought you could do better than what Harvest Host was doing at the time, and that you could do better with RV overnights?
I never like to say better. I like to say different. Yeah. So, obviously we've done things a bit differently. The overall concept is very similar, but the concept works. It's just a matter of, we saw some opportunity in technology and offerings to both sides and both parties.
So why should I pick you guys over Harvest Hosts?
We have a very great price model. So,
it is less expensive.
Right now,
I know that.
Yeah. So $49.99 a year is the going rate right now. And you can get that for $39.99 with a discount code, as well as $29.99 if you're a member of the FRVA, which is a big family motor coaching association. We actually have a big exclusive partnership with them that we announced in March of this year. But I mean, when it really comes down to it, it has to do with technology and features that you're looking for. We're a young company with a fast growing platform, and we're working really hard to live up to the expectation.
Yeah, I think Harvest Host is more than that, $100 or more, and so obviously you're beating them on price right there. Do you both share businesses or the places that you can stay? It's like when somebody's renting their condo on Airbnb or VRBO. Are you sharing the same types of businesses and same businesses?
I know there's some overlap. I don't know what the overlap is. We have no way of knowing. So, both platforms don't allow web scraping. So there's really no way to directly compare the two against each other. Yeah. But we know that we get a lot of unique locations because on our end, when we talk to somebody, it comes down to the beginning of explaining it to a new host. If they stop us and say, oh, well, we're already on XYZ, so we know how this works to an extent. Is it like that? Or if we have to explain it to them from scratch, and more than less, we have to explain it to them from scratch. So that's really our only gauge at knowing, who's unique versus who might be on both platforms.
Yeah, my guest is Rob Case. He's the co-founder of RV Overnights. We're talking about his service connecting RVers with a nationwide network of small businesses and offering overnight stays. The type of people who like to use your service, is there a type of person, is there a type of RV camper person that chooses what you guys do over just heading out to a KOA campground or just finding a state campground?
I mean, a lot of people are using this platform as a way to kind of leapfrog. So they might be going to their final destination and they've got that travel day in between or a couple travel days in between, and they're using us as the overnight stay between the two. And the model works for some and it doesn't work for all. We're primarily a boondocking platform, which means that we're mostly based on the idea of having being self-contained and showing up, and you're not relying on services from the hosting locations. That being said, we were the industry first to have filters to find those locations that have stuff like electrical hookups, water, sewer, allow additional nights. We were the first to have those filters built in, and a lot of members that join us, they join because they want to use those filters and find those hosts. So that kind of brought in a new group of people who might not have been comfortable with boondocking before to be able to use the program when they want to boondock, but also use the program when they don't want to. So, that was one of the benefits of how we did things.
Right. As I remember back, and maybe Joel has changed it over time, but I remember when I talked to him 3 years ago that they did not have any places to park that would allow you to hook up with water or like with sewer, that sort of stuff. So you could really now, with your service and being able to do that, you could really open this up to a larger number of RV types and camper types than that might depend on having electricity and having water hookups and having sewer dumps and all those sort of things, other than just parking it like you would if you were just driving your sedan onto somebody's property and then spending the night in the back seat.
Yeah, so we don't allow car camping. That's the one big thing. But I mean, it gives a certain level of comfort for folks that want to be able to take the long shower or run the AC all night, and that's that's a big one, especially in the summer for some people. And we have some really great hosts that have really invested in the concept, and we make it easy to find those hosts that invested in the concept, so you can still get that unique individual experience, but with some of the benefits that you would see at a more established RV establishment.
And what else is in it for the host? So they allow you to come onto your property, and let's say I'm staying at a winery. You said that you encourage your users, your parkers, your RVers to come in and maybe buy a bottle of wine or two, and I'm sure most of them do, but it's not really a requirement, right? So is this just kind of a hope, and hopefully these people are going to be doing the right thing and buying something from the host?
So most people on platforms like this follow the rules and understand the concept and get that it's a small business that you're supporting, and that the only way that it keeps going around is for it to be treated with that kind of respect, that you do make the purchase and you do continue it. Otherwise, the host would they'd have no reason to stay. Right? They would drop off. So we built a few tools in as a great way for hosts to be able to just judge better. So members have a stay score. That stay score is based on how many stays that they honor, meaning if they cancel or don't cancel. And then we also have reviews set up on both sides, and the reviews are visible on both sides. So the members can see their reviews from the hosts. And that was kind of a change from some other platforms out there. And that makes it so that everybody's more likely to be a little bit more honest. Think of more like an Uber or Lyft model, right? Like you don't want your Uber score to go down. Otherwise, people might start denying your ride.
Yeah.
So, very similar to that.
Interesting. I know there are a lot of different unique places. I know one in Colorado here, they allow you to stay at their alpaca haven. And so, I mean, there have to be some other really unique places to stay. What are some of the ones that come to mind when I say unique places that you guys have to offer?
I feel like a broken record mentioning this one, but you think unique. I don't think you can get more unique than a missile silo.
Oh, yeah.
So like an nuclear missile silo. And that's a cool place that's on my
But you
bucket
can't
list when I
drive
get out
into
that
it. I
way.
mean, you're next to it, right?
No, you park above it, and you can pay extra if you want to stay in it for the night. Believe it or not, he allows you to sleep in it, kind of like an Airbnb thing. But just the tour alone is pretty cool. But we have in our search filters, we built in this thing called a hashtag search, and all the host locations when they get onboarded, we go through their profile and basically find out as much as we can about each host location. So if they do goat yoga, cow cuddling, apple picking, if they're an avocado farm, all that kind of stuff. And then we apply all those appropriate hashtags. And the idea behind that was you can find as unique as you want to find if you want to search through them. There's over 1,100 hashtags currently, and that'll really let you find exactly what you want when it comes to something super unique or whatever it is.
Yeah, I've seen some that are just as plain as a church parking lot where you're just parked there on their land, to where you have the Mid American Museum, the aircraft museum, where you can park there and see all these different aircraft that you're parked right next to it.
Yeah, some of the bigger museums are really cool. We actually have the RV and Motorhome Museum on there, and that's especially awesome because if you really are into RVing and you want to see where the industry came from and where some of those units came from, uh, there's no other place like it. It's mostly indoor. The rigs that are in there are in really great shape. They've been restored, and there's just a lot of rich history in there with the old Airstreams and Winnebagos, and even some of the more primitive stuff that used to exist.
Yeah, and you have some that are right there on the beach as well, and I think that's always one of those attractions that RV lifestyle can afford you. So you could get a hotel that's on or near the beach, but some of these campgrounds and some of these hosts have places right on the water, and you can park right there and wake up and go swimming in the ocean if you want.
Yeah, we have hashtags for waterfront, lakefront, beachfront. And those were, at the request of myself and my
Mhm.
wife, because we love stuff like that. So we like being close to the water, love seafood. So, uh, things like that, like just being able to find those experiences. And like you said, having an RV gives you that luxury to just be able to kind of pull up right next to something like that you'd love to live on. Think of like everybody wants that beach house or the lake house. You get that experience for 24 hours to however long you stay.
Do you find that you have more hosts available around national parks or around large attractions like the Grand Canyon or around Washington D.C., where people might want to go visit some of the museums or some of the attractions there?
I'll tell you what, running this company and recruiting hosts and like watching our map grow has been one of those things that you start to really realize where the desolate parts of America are. um, and you see some of the holes in the map and you go, oh wow, we don't have really a whole lot in Nevada. And then you really you might go on Google Maps and start typing in various business types and zooming in around the state, and you realize there's a reason why there's not a whole lot in Nevada. That's because there's not a whole lot in Nevada in the
Right.
first place.
There is
There's a
Area
reason.
51, and I would be surprised, and maybe I should look at your map to see if you have something around Rachel, Nevada, which is over on the closest area to Area 51.
So yeah, I'm sure maybe we could find an Area 51 museum out there.
Yep.
That might
That's
that
about as
might be a
close as
good
you
host
get. It's called
suggestion.
the Alien,
Yeah.
and I've been there, and they have this alien stuff all around, and it's a little diner. It's called the Alien, right there in Rachel, Nevada. It's supposed to be the closest place you can get to Area 51.
Do they have good parking for RVs?
I don't know if they do or not. I they had good parking for my car when I was out there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always scoping who has good parking for an RV. So, and when push comes to shove, I'll hop on Google Maps and just double check from the aerial view. But
And I do see
yeah,
there's a place in Pahrump that also has one. So, and that's a whole nother business kind of model. So we can skip over that one.
yeah. But no, you definitely start to see the map develop where people are, and that's primarily where you'll see the highest cluster of hosts is along major travel routes, which is always good for RVers because that's where they need the hosts, is along big corridors like I-95, things like that. And then, everywhere else, we've got them scattered throughout. West Virginia is mostly mountainous, and you'll notice there's not as many hosts there, but for the most part, east of the Mississippi is like packed.
Yeah.
And that's just because, there's not a whole lot when you go out towards the desert or the Rockies, as far as just places to be in general, let alone places to park an RV.
Right. My guest is Rob Case. He's the co-founder of RV Overnights. You can find them at rvovernights.com, and we're talking about his network of places to park your RV for the night. Are there some that are more popular than others that you see repeat business a lot, and that are always wanting to be always going to be booked?
Yeah, places that are along the highly main travel routes. So, like I said, 95, huge travel corridor for snow. What do they call them?
Snowbirds.
Snowbirds. Yes, thank you. I wanted to say snow bunnies, but I was thinking of
That's
back when
back
when I used to go skiing and snowboarding.
Right.
Yeah, snowbirds. So during those times of year, fall and spring, they'll see a lot of travel up and down that corridor. And we do see hosts that people go to every year when they make that trip. And then some of those other areas, it might be somebody that goes out to their grandparents' property or family's property, and they're going through the same area every year, or they make that trip 3-4 times a year. And it's not unlikely for us to hear a host say, "Oh yeah, I've got a regular that comes in once every 3 to 4 months when they're heading over to XYZ." Yeah. So people get comfortable with the places that they've been in the past, and they know what to expect. And it's just like any other thing for human nature. They get comfortable, and it kind of becomes their thing. Oh, we're going to stop by there, and I'm going to get a cheesesteak and a beer, and we'll sleep for the night and head out in the morning. And I'll stop at the Shell on the corner before we get back on the highway, and we'll do it again in 3 to 4 months.
Right. I see that you also have some, not just mostly obviously in the United States, but there are some up in Canada as well. Is that an area that you would like to expand more? And what about maybe down into Mexico?
We're staying out of Mexico, but we do expand into Canada, and the Canadian hosts, we've got quite a few, mostly scattered along the border. And right after that, we go over into the Northeast quite a bit. I think there's even one on an island over that way. So, we do have quite a few Canadian hosts, and we are constantly trying to grow that. Right now is obviously a great time to head up that way. It's probably still a little bit cooler than it is down in Florida. But in the winter, they don't get a lot of action, mainly because you can't get there with the snow most of the time. So, they have a limited lifespan every year. But this time of year, we're obviously always trying to get more Canadian hosts.
Yeah, and you have some right there around Niagara Falls, and so you could go both sides of the border there, I suppose.
Yeah. We don't hyper focus on any one set area. We kind of just broadly cast a net and try to get all the locations. We still vet them. We want the right places, but there's a host that might not be in a good place for me to visit is likely in a great place for somebody else. Yeah. So we're always looking for new locations.
Right. My guest is Rob Case. We're talking about RV Overnights. You can find them at rvovernights.com, talking about that service that connects RVers with nationwide network of small businesses offering these overnight stays. You are obviously in the RV and travel trailer world because you own them and you're around them all the time. Would you say this kind of travel is more popular than ever? Is it waning? Is it becoming more popular? How is it? Yeah, how has it changed since COVID when it really hit some big popularity?
I mean, definitely had a boom during COVID. Everybody saw that. It's definitely slowed down. Everybody's seeing that. A lot of the industry associations and stuff see sales and manufacturing and stuff like that staying steady. So I think the leveling out has already kind of happened, but it's definitely stayed heightened. I believe it's definitely still higher than it was before the pandemic. A lot of people have an interest. Remote work really boomed during the pandemic, and that stuck around for many people. So All those people that felt tied to their houses during the pandemic that went out there and started doing remote work, they're sticking on with their RV between satellite internet and 5G and everything else. They don't have to sit at their desk anymore if they don't want to. They can be out a couple weeks and still work their 9 to 5, and then hop outside the door of the RV and walk on the beach, that kind of thing. So I don't think that's ever going to change because obviously high speed internet, video conferencing, and remote work are here to stay. But yeah, and you have a younger generation that is not necessarily having a hard time affording housing, but they see this lifestyle as something that they could sustain full time for a number of years. So you have a younger demographic coming in that is really embracing the idea of getting a camper, travel trailer. A lot of them do vans, but yeah, and living that lifestyle. So I think we're still in the upswing, but it has leveled out a little bit since the pandemic.
Do you have a target audience? Is it those people with the internet connection that are working on the road, or younger couples with maybe a couple of young kids, or families who might have converted, like you said, a van or a bus into a traveling home? Maybe traditional retirees who have the available time just to take a week and head out on the road?
I mean, as far as the population is skewed, I'd still say it's skewed towards retirees. They have the time, and they're looking to travel. But we don't necessarily like pick out a demographic and exclude families or younger folks. Everybody that owns an RV is a candidate to use the program, and that's kind of how we look at it.
You said that some folks will use a van, but does it have to be a certain kind of van? Like I couldn't drive my microbus, but I could drive my Vanagon. Does it have to be camper, qualified?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that build stuff themselves, and as long as they're self-contained, meaning that their bathroom facilities and their kitchen facilities are inside that unit and fully functional, so that they're not relying on the host for those facilities, they're more than welcome in the program. And we have a great help article on our site to help people identify that. But I mean, really, it just comes down to, are you fully self-contained? And if you are, then you're good to go. We have people with schoolies, which of course are the school buses that people convert. I always thought personally I wanted to build one of those, but I've heard that most people die or sell them before they finish them. So I don't want to be in either of those categories.
Right.
So I'll stick with the pre-built stuff. But yeah, I mean, we have people that have done amazing conversions on the big, nice, tall Sprinter vans or the Ford Transit vans, and they're better in some cases than what the manufacturer puts out, just because they put the time and attention into the detail.
Oh, sure. And no doubt prices for all kinds of travel. It doesn't matter if you're going to a traditional hotel, you're staying at a Motel 6, or you're staying at the Ritz. Everything has gone up in price. Is that, do you think, one reason maybe people would think about taking an RV vacation or trying an RV vacation over one where you might have to fly somewhere and then stay at a traditional hotel and get a rental car?
I mean, I'd say for me, that has always kind of been a big factor, right? Is a good hotel anymore is not cheap by any means. If you want something decent, I don't know if you've stayed at a hotel lately around the country that was like $120 to $170, but a lot of them aren't what you used to get for $120 to $170. It's more of like what you used to expect for a $45 a night hotel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that has gone up, and there's something to be said about knowing that the bed is comfortable, knowing that the sheets are clean because they're yours. And then yeah, I mean, air flight travel is not as reliable lately as it had been. We're in New Jersey here. Newark Airport was a mess for like 2 to 3 weeks, and people's flights were getting canceled left and right. So to be able to be in complete control and know you're going to get there when you want to get there, it's just one more reason that makes RV travel that much more not only affordable but attractive.
But I would think some competition might come from the VRBOs and the Airbnbs, because I've done that where my girls are baton twirlers. We've gone on baton trips, and we usually get, find one of those, whether it's a small house or an apartment, and we'll stay in those. And I would think if I could drive an RV, that might be an option, but it's also nice to have a little bit more space.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's all situational. My business partner and I, sometimes when we're doing RV shows, like out in Hershey, PA, we actually opt for a hotel, and it comes out of convenience because of the fact that we've already got the trade show booth to set up. We're already on our feet for 8 to 12 hours a day, depending on what day it is. And like
Yeah.
the last thing I want to do is drag the RV there, set it up, and then after I tear down the trade show booth, which can take hours when you're trying to get out with everybody else at the same time, then go pack up my RV. So it is situational, and there's a time and a place. It's not for everything. So
Yeah. But I think there's also the folks that do RVs, and maybe if they don't do it all the time, there can be some sticker shock when you pull up to the Buc-ee's and the price of the pump reads $350, and you have to do that several times as you're traveling around the country.
yeah, and that's a big factor for some folks. They'll look into after they buy an RV that you might see them sell it rather quickly, and it was because they prefer to spend the money on air flight and a hotel over gasoline or diesel. So it all depends on your travel preference and what works for you. And I'd say when it comes to the pandemic and seeing that like a little bit of a drop off or a steady out, those were the folks that you probably lost first, were the ones that decided that the fuel costs wasn't worth it. They'd rather just keep the investment in the hotel and the air travel.
Yeah, and the traditional camping used to be nominal, $20, $30, 40 maybe if you're doing full hookups, but now they're 50, 75, $100 just to go to a place where, a regular old campground to go get the hookup.
Yeah, campground rates have definitely gone up, and I think they're kind of still going up. And national and state parks are hard to get into at times. So, that's where a program like ours kind of helps out in a way that if it's not your destination, it's a great place to stop and stay the night.
Yeah, because as we've talked about, your model offers these places to park, and you're not charged from those places, but you do charge a yearly fee for the access to these places. That fee goes to what exactly? Just your time making these connections and getting hosts on the list, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, running this place isn't cheap, so something's got to keep the lights on, and we have a really great mobile application and web application, and that requires a lot of upkeep and development. And we made a commitment when we first came out to always be the innovative platform coming out with new stuff, and we've really honored that. And that takes development, which takes dollars. And growing the host network is a constant thing. And there are some hosts that it doesn't work out for, and they choose to leave, and you got to make sure that you're always recruiting more than are leaving. And obviously we want the program to grow, and that's part of that fee as well. And then customer support, we've always said that we want to have a phone number for people to be able to call. Kurt and I kind of believe in that small business model, old school world of you should be able to get somebody on the phone and not have to, work through the internet entirely and through chat and email. So, if you really need to get a hold of us, you can always give us a call.
Yeah. Have you lost out on any available businesses because maybe they wanted to charge the people to park there, or they wanted to have some kind of at least a minimum of purchase from their business before they would allow somebody to stay there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we provide a lot of information up front. We make it very clear. We vet them all, ask questions to all those locations. But, if we find a host isn't really following the program guidelines, then, we have to ask them to do that or to move on. And we're pretty big sticklers for it, just because we don't want the integrity of our program to be compromised.
Have you looked at maybe a model where some people who are willing to pay a little bit more for a more unique camping experience, or maybe a little bit more of a some type of experience that they can get from one of those hosts to stay somewhere exclusive? Have you looked at that kind of a model?
No, I think it would change the concept too much. And, in some cases, people might not want to purchase something, and they might move over to like you said, a church where they just make a donation and things like that.
Yeah.
And, there are different host types that might offer some of those premium experiences, but you need to pay for them, when it comes to setups or hookups or, amenities that are on the property. So, in a way, those things are being offered, but without compromising the concept of the program. So, you can find a host that has a hot tub jacuzzi that's fired by a campfire on our platform, and get that experience, but not necessarily pay extra upfront for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think that might open up, and maybe it's a whole different, because I was just thinking about a whole different model where there are maybe some businesses that say, yeah, I wouldn't mind you staying here, but I want some guarantee this, and I'd like to sell you more of this, and we have this really cool experience to do this, but it's going to cost you $150 instead of just you showing up and hopefully you'll buy something.
It's a slippery slope, and that's why we like the model the way it is.
Sure. Sure. What's next for RV overnights? Just more places to stay? Is that how you continue to grow this? What do you see happening with RV overnights over the next year or two or 5 or 10?
We've got some big plans and a lot of stuff that's constantly in the works. We have more filters that are actually coming out early next week, ahead of the Hershey RV show in September, and that's more features as well for our hosts too. So just a lot of industry firsts for us. Always trying to stay innovative and coming out with the next thing. And there are some bigger plans which I'll keep hush hush for now. But
you don't want to break any news.
I don't want to break any news. No, I don't want to spoil a surprise. So yeah, I mean we've always got something in the works, and we hope to keep it that way. We came out with a lot of industry firsts when we launched, and we'd like to keep making that kind of stride.
Yeah, and as you see, there is competition in this space now. So, are you worried about competition in the future, or are you just going to go guns ahead and just figure your own business out?
The RV industry is huge. It's literally massive. I forget what the total dollar amount number is, but it's a really big industry, and you've got Lowe's and Home Depot, and you've got Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and Grubhub, and I mean you can make those comparisons all day, right? So competition is healthy for the market. It's good for the consumer. It's good for everybody. So it drives competition and innovation, and I'm not worried about it. We do our own thing. Nice. So we're not focused on what everybody else is doing. We're doing our thing.
This is Rob Case, the co-founder of RV Overnights, about the service that can connect RVers with nationwide network of small businesses offering overnight stays. You can find them right now at rvovernights.com. Rob, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. I wish you only the best of success and to happy RVing in the future.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, Jason.
And again, I have the link to RV Overnights in the description of the show if you want to go check them out. There are a lot of farms on the map, a lot of wineries, distilleries, some golf courses. I saw a lot of pictures of goats. I guess there's a lot of goat farms out there, and some other very unique, like what Rob said about the missile silo. So there are some interesting ones, some restaurants, or at least places you can stay so you can go get some food, because that's the old farm to table idea is fairly popular, and you just find your state and see. I guess you can't really RV. You can. There's actually one place in Alaska, a tap room experience there, so you could drive up to Alaska. You can't drive to Hawaii, as far as I know, unless you have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and well, nobody does. So I guess that's not going to happen. There is a place that's supposed to be like right on the United States-Mexico border, Naco, right by Nogales. I guess it's outside of Nogales, Arizona. So that's about as close to Mexico as you're going to get. I guess there's a place in New Mexico, right outside of Juarez, that you could go to as well. So anyway, it's pretty interesting concept if you want to go do that, and you can also check out I check out the interview I did with Harvest Host back years ago, and as I looked that up, that was episode number 249. So a while back. How far back was that? Yeah, that was at least 3 years ago. Back in June of 2022. So just about the same time as I was talking to Rob about RV overnight. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, love to hear them, or about my story about the Three Corners and how I have a couple more Three Corners to go to, and if you've been to 3 quarters or 4 corners or 6 corners or however many corners you've been to. Anyway, it's all my contact information is in the description of the show. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'm Jason Luber, the traffic guy. Be safe. And as always, happy motoring.